he's fought through the hip surgeries, being out a year and a half. He still continued to come to the meetings when he could, and was really into the defense and wanted to know everything. And you can really see it carry over into his play now. And as you could see him today, if there's some periods where he was running with the first group at cornerback, and he's earned that. I mean, if you look at his production and the amount of times he does things right, the amount of times he gets his hands on balls, it's been really impressive. So his production's been good, and I'm real happy and proud for the kid.
Clancy, where's this defense improved the most to you through the spring?
I just think continuity. We wanted to shave some things off of what we were doing, maybe try to simplify some things where we can play a little bit faster. And I think anytime you can have close to a little over half of your guys coming back that have got a lot of experience going into the third year, they don't have to think about hearing the call. So I think it's allowed a good abundance of those guys to really improve in their technique. And I can see that as probably the biggest difference on all three levels of the defense. The guys that have been here, their technique's really improved.
When Jack Jones, are you coaching them up a little differently because they're in a different place, that you can coach them like a little more refined and ways to coach the cornerbacks and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, it can be a little bit more specific. I spend most of my time with the inside backers and the safeties. We rotate through the individual periods with the backers and the safeties. Between myself and the other assistant coaches, and then we meet together I meet with the inside backers and the safeties most of the time. Sometimes the corners are in there as well, but mostly it's those two groups. But I think that we can compartmentalize things maybe a little bit for the guys that have been here and maybe appear to do less but are doing maybe more just because they have a good feel for what we want defensively. But I think like I mentioned earlier, the biggest jump has been really the technique. Because the guys, they don't have to think as much, they can really focus in on their play, and so we can show them, hey, this is what you looked like 2 years ago, here's what you looked like last year, and this is what you look like now, and this is the product we want.
You guys have more ability to coach technique now.
Yeah, they understand the system. Yeah. Not that we weren't before. We obviously were. That's first and foremost always is defense, but you're also trying to get things in that are going to give your schematically your best opportunity for the guys to to play well. And I've been a coordinator now for a handful of years and installed defenses different places at the college and the pro level, and I've never been one to want to say, okay, here's film of another group doing it at a different school or a different team. I want that team to identify with, hey, this is USC guys doing it. I don't want to show maybe Arizona Cardinals or Cal or Kansas City or San Francisco 49ers hey, this is how it's supposed to look. I want us to learn that on their own. And so I think this year we've been able to dive back into the guys in the first 2 years in the system and then tie that in with some NFL clips that, like, this is really how it's supposed to look. But I think the game slowing down to a lot of guys has really helped some make improvement in their play.
How much does Porter set the tone for your defense?
He's definitely the trendsetter. He gets guys going, and he leads by example. But this year, you're hearing him more with his voice, getting guys going. There's not a guy that's got more energy and juice than him. And I think this going into his senior year, he's got a bad taste in his mouth about the time that he missed last year, and it was just amazing the injuries part that he did fight through, that he did play, was unbelievable. But I think you'll see him take more of a leadership role this year.
What do you think that play he made?
What's that?
What do you think that play he made, getting his hands up?
Oh yeah, we just worked on batted balls, today.
So he said that was the Chenna move. I mean, is it nice to have Chenna is gone, but then you got a guy that goes out there?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's nice to see that things translate, that we work on individually, and we worked on that stuff really the last 2 years. And so anytime you see something happen in a drill and then happen in a team setting, you're obviously going to be happy about this.
Has he had kind of a similar spring to what Chenna had last year? Just sort of number of plays he's making out there?
It feels that way. Chenna was really tough to deal with for our offense last year, and I kind of sensed that when Porter's out there. We got a handful of guys that we limit some in the live type drills where it's full tackling. We've seen enough snaps of them. I think I put up the number of snaps of each guy that played last year, and there's quite a few guys that got 700, 800, 900 plays, so I don't need to see them that much. So when it's a live 11 on 11, maybe they don't get as much, but you really can feel his presence out there, and I think he was really going to have a big year for us last year as a pass rusher, and really worked on rolling off the front foot, not false stepping. And when you watch his one-on-one pass rush and in team-type settings, you can really see that transforming over now too.
Does having him give you kind of more confidence about facing someone like Uchenna, just in terms of plays he's able to make?
I think so. I think his change of direction has gotten better. There's been certain things that he's needed to work on in his game, and he's worked on those things. Uchenna's very unique. He's going to be hard to replace, but we got to move on and move up with the next guy. And we have a pretty diverse set of outside linebackers and what they can do physically and athletically, and it's kind of a good problem to have.
It seems like Locke is able to compete physically with a bigger wide receiver. Why is that?
He's got a lot of tenacity. He's very quick with his hands, and he plays with very good pad level with the bigger receivers. And I think when the ball's in the air, he's got really good ball skills. And one of the things we coach when the ball's down the field, we don't play the receiver, we play the ball like we are the receiver. And I think when you look at his career in high school, he was a very good offensive player, and I think that's helped him really become a good defensive back.
Thanks, Clancy.
Yeah.
Thank you.